Hello everyone, and welcome back to
Skiz plays Lone Fungus.
With Sally Cat for commentary.
So, unfortunately, we've actually had a bit of an audio issue, so game audio was fine, our voices was not.
Yeah, some of you may have noticed in the last episode that our microphone started cutting out near the end.
Yeah, so this is a voiceover recording of what we've done. And we're basically in cleanup phase, if I recall correctly.
Yeah. Now this section was where you were starting to go towards this hallway where the gate is now open.
Yes. Right, because this is basically the end of the game.
And we discover big upward arrow, and also
the all-seeing eye. A whispering noise will play whenever there is a breakable wall or a hidden passage close to Green Cap. So yeah, basically makes it much easier if we do want to clean up for 100%.
Indeed.
And meanwhile, I was sort of noticing if the map would respawn.
So there was some question of, did we want to explore upward? Did we want to go back and work on the cleanup?
Yeah, and I basically asked a bunch of times, like, hey, at what point is it not possible to come back?
And I tried to tell him, you're doing fine. This is not a point of no return yet.
Yep. So then getting to play around with things, like deciding wall bounce made more fun there than the actual reflection thing.
Playing around with getting ups.
And also just remembering that I had to spin on that one, because spin has been one of my nemesis in this game, in terms of control.
Spin's a little awkward.
Yeah. And also I wanted to get a little bit better at using the actual floor bounce to ascend walls. Yep. And upon trying to remember how some of those bounces work, if I got a side wall bounce, it tended to set me back progress.
Yeah. When you try to make progress and end up doing the opposite, oops.
This is also one of the safest places to lose progress, to be fair. But, yeah, this is not Bennett Foddy's. Okay.
Yeah, it looks like you were trying to pull off a wall bounce, but hit spin instead.
Yeah. And then that actually puts you in a respawn that is not all the way at the bottom. Also, really fun sort of background noise here.
Oh yeah.
Very ominous if you hang around it for a while. Yep.
Very epic, something is about to happen vibe.
Yeah. And since I typically want to do up dashes / double jumps more so than I want to do horizontal dashes, that leads to me missing some cues sometimes. Not that it takes very long. And then I was like, you know what, let's just skip one. Because there are plenty of ways to get up here.
Some areas of the game do enable quite a few skips.
Yeah.
Especially when you master the wall bounce. Or using floor bounce on the wall.
Floor bounce on the wall really wasn't that hard. It was just, there are so many different control mechanics that it can be a little easy to mix them up. So particularly if I come back to a recording session after not doing this game for a bit, I have to sort of fool around. But hey, we are getting pretty close to the top. It's a long shaft.
If you really want to, you can chain together quite a lot of up dashes.
Yeah. And we were like, okay, this is the point of no return.
Right.
Still counts as part of Deep Grotto. Or maybe not still, because it's a different coloring.
Yeah, but it gives the location as Deep Grotto.
Yeah.
So we've made it all the way up here. Let's go back underground.
Yeah. And use some teleports. So, I was asking for suggestions of sort of where to go cleaning up first, and was brought to my attention that there would be something I could pick up that would make more teleports easier.
I think we got that in the previous episode.
Did we?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, because I guess I did go to Silver's, so. In the meantime, I'm still enjoying the electric sparks. While also getting a little impatient and sloppy descending down here. Because we're trying to look at the stuff that I left markers on for did not finish.
Right, so there's a couple things we're looking for down here. I saw the blue markers for stuff that we were not able to deal with when we first encountered it. And also there's a particular statue somewhere in this zone.
Yeah, so this is the first time I noticed the all-seeing eye go off to say, hey, there's something you didn't get. And, that being said,
Yeah,
I'm wondering...
this is a challenge room.
Yeah. And, it was brought to my attention, yeah, I'm probably gonna have to get really good with Spore Shroom. And bounces off of it. So, a little bit of trying to remember how it works.
And an episode or two before this, you did get more consistent with using it to do simple ascends or horizontal travel.
Yeah. But I was sort of like, man, is it even worth it right now? Also the issue of having...
I would like to see you do it eventually.
Yeah. Well, also the issue of just having magic drain between successive attempts. So either you're super patient or you run all the way back to the save. Or you hopefully get drops off of enemies. But see, getting height's one thing. When, at that point right there, I have to lose height again, and that's the technique I didn't figure out yet.
Okay. Now, you're doing a good job of learning the room and slowly figuring out some tech there. And if you can get just a couple more casts of your Spore spell, I think that'll be helpful.
Well, it's more that how do I descend height while still keeping it going? Because the timing's all different, and once I'm descending, I'm falling faster, so it throws off the timing.
Yeah, I don't know if you need to cast one out instead of down.
Yeah, I never quite figured that out. So
I have completed that room, but I don't remember it well enough to explain it.
Yeah. I have yet to figure out a consistent setup for an outcast instead of a downcast. So I just was like, you know what, not feeling it right now.
Fair enough.
Though, at this point, maybe I was feeling it and I was just looking for more enemies to get MP refills.
Yeah, that's totally what was happening here.
Yep. And I was like, you can just eat it. Okay, so back to here again.
Also,
Yeah, because if I'm not falling too fast yet, I can get it to go.
This area I'm not gonna cut down in editing. There's another one coming up that I might, because we just weren't able to make a whole lot of good progress.
Yeah.
One of the astral rooms.
And that's part of my worry with doing a 100% recording here, is just having the time of banging my head against a wall to figure something out.
I am more concerned about that with the astral rooms than anything else.
Yes. I am also concerned about it with the astral rooms.
Although one thing that we realized while recording this episode is we're still missing one ladybug, and don't actually know where it is.
Yeah, because the uncollected ones are supposed to show up on the map.
Once you enter the room that it's in.
Right, so it's like, what rooms have we actually left out? And the something hidden here thing went off, so we find out.
So we will find all of the ladybugs in this playthrough, even if I have to consult a guide online.
And I'm okay with having that as a spoiler. I do not feel too disappointed if that is spoiled for me. And then realized that the All-Seeing Eye also gives you these little cues if you're close. So yay. Astral Room.
Oh, this one.
Oh, this one? Come on, this was the one I did well on.
Oh, right. Were there two of these that had the spinning astral balls?
Yes. And this was by far the easier one.
See, I just hate this whole mechanic. I'm bad at it.
It's not really that bad if you figure out how to, like, hit a repeatable part of a wheel and just stay on the wheel.
Okay.
And that gives you some of the muscle memory. So I'm trying to figure that out right now of, like, where I can get a repeatable bounce.
But I am also just not as good at rhythm and timing.
Yeah.
I guess with practice I can get there.
So I was like, okay, I've made it 3 wheels deep.
But this is just not as fun for me to bang my head against.
Fair. And then I was like, okay, that one's higher, so that's going to take a bit of a different transition. Yeah. I don't know. Though the fact that this music is not particularly jarring and makes for calming background also helps avoid build up the stress. At least in my experience.
It's still kind of fun to watch you doing some of these.
Yeah.
Even if it's not live.
Fair enough. Yeah, and we also figured that any of the equips I could put on for relics don't really make a difference here.
Yeah, the wide slash and long slash could maybe help hit these a little better.
Well, I don't know if they're silenced is the thing, as a part of the silencing in the room normally.
I don't think they are.
Okay. Yeah, so I did figure out how to catch that one, but not how to get, like, a productive bounce off it. And usually what happens is I figure out sort of visual cues like, okay, I should jump when the wheel is passing the right area, like the 3 o'clock. Or something like that. Which is funny, because I am not generally practiced at doing those kinds of cues in many games I play, but I notice speedrunners doing them all the time. So I figure why not try to pick up a mechanic of theirs. Not that I've done a lot of speedrunning. I did beat one of the Ori and the Blind Forest speed challenges, though.
Yeah, I've done that too. Ori and the Blind Forest speed challenges are fairly generous compared to some others.
Yeah. But you still have to sort of route what kind of power-ups are worth getting that would increase your chances of successfully beating it.
Sure. Now, Shovel Knight speed challenge, that one I'm probably not getting.
Okay. So I finally figured out I could sort of hang at the lower left corner there, but I didn't have it quite set up yet. Though I still recall this only took me a few minutes total. It feels longer on watchback, to be honest. Okay. Yeah, so I was like, why not pause for a second and figure that out?
Ooh, nice catch.
Yeah, that was the hardest transition of the whole thing. Once I had that, I knew pretty much I had the rest of it done.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, so there we go. And I think I remarked, hey, it wasn't that long after all. So then what? It was like, okay, there was one of these other ones I still haven't marked off. I still have a marker on.
Yeah, we couldn't remember what this was.
Yeah. So, worth at least looking. And I think I discovered that maybe I had actually been here and just forgot to turn the marker off. Because nothing in here was too difficult.
And we weren't finding any other secrets with the all-seeing eye.
Right, all-seeing eye wasn't going off. Nothing looked like it was left over for me to collect. In fact, it sort of felt instead like the end of this hall did have something before, and I just didn't remember collecting it.
Yup.
Yep.
Because there's the teleporter thing and no relic next to it.
Yep. So, since I knew I did not particularly feel like doing a bunch of attempts of that other challenge hall for the ladybug...
Oh, it's not even a ladybug, there's a mind shroom at the end of it.
Mind shroom, yes.
And
True.
maybe another secret?
Maybe, but... I mean, I figured the all-seeing eye would go off for a mind shroom. So...
Well, it says there's something hidden here.
Yeah. Well, I figure hidden could also just mean, like, uncollected power-up, but I'm not certain.
Perhaps.
So, wanted to give this a little bit of a try. Got leftovers. And that was about when I was like, okay, there's clearly another mechanic I have to figure out, and we've spent enough time on a challenge room already. Or maybe...
have we?
That was too loud. But
Apologies.
yeah. Oh yeah, and then I was like, wait, that was a different kind of bounce. What did I do on that one? But yeah, that was enough. So in the meantime, I was also thinking like, Okay, are there any other relics that would increase my rate of magic recovery?
And I thought there were relics that increased your mana or decreased spell cost. But if there are, we don't actually have them.
Yeah, so I don't really know how many things I haven't yet gotten. And I'll tell you, I am interested in getting them. It's just how many of them are going to be taking a while for me to keep banging my head against a wall until I get it. There already has been one of them, at least a major one, so far in this series.
Mm-hmm.
And that one did have some editing. Also, admittedly, this depends a lot on how my work days have been and where my energy levels are at to try recording this stuff.
Yeah, there's a definite difference between semester skiz and break time skiz.
Yeah, school teacher here, so that tends to affect my time. But yeah, not going to go into more detail than that.
Mm-hmm.
So I noticed the spell booster, and these are things that, like, increase the damage of spells, but nothing about making spells themselves cheaper to cast, as far as we could figure out.
That said, there should be a few more mind shrooms out in the wild that we can collect and maybe get one more cast off.
Yeah. Well, it's also just even figuring out what the technique is. Maybe what I should do is practice that technique in a big open room that has a save point, because I can sort of simulate the challenge in another room.
And I'm okay with either practicing either the specific room or the technique either off camera or even on camera, and I just do editing as needed.
Yeah, I think if I do a side room, it's going to be off camera.
Sure.
Is my guess. We'll find out. But I also was like, hey, I don't know that I want the electricity after all. Why don't I put on some other things? So, having long and wide for slashing is good.
Mm-hmm.
And I remarked the combo heal was something I was using quite a lot earlier in the recording. So, maybe go back to combo heal. Because Green Health Orb, we had tried it out and was not really that handy. Admittedly, max mind recovery seemed interesting, except the puzzle room would not involve me taking damage, so it wouldn't help there. Shadow Spin's neat. Was debating Quick Feet, but have not been that much in speedrunner mode. So yeah. I'm sure there was some interesting stuff I was saying.
Oh yeah.
Of course. Yeah.
Alas, what witty dialogue has been lost to time because of a technical glitch.
Yeah, there's that. Oh, did I want to do any more rounds? I don't think so. At this... Oh yeah, I was gonna leave, hey, let's come back to this marker. Okay.
Now this might have been around the time I was saying, okay, there's a statue I want you to find, but I don't remember where.
Yeah, and I think part of the inspiration of coming here was to try finding that statue.
Mm-hmm. Old boss room.
Yep. And the fun of remembering that Charge Slash Dude does get rid of those.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, well, okay, let's just start exploring the map and see if either the all-seeing eye goes off or you notice a statue or something. And part of me was lamenting taking off the shock thing, though it wasn't really that big a deal.
Mm-hmm. Like, oh no, things now take 2 or 3 slashes to kill instead of 1 or 2.
Yeah. The invincibility just had to go off by that point. Also, I totally did not notice that ghost coming in. Oh, but I was like, wait a sec, something's hidden. So is it over here? And I'm like, okay, these guys. Oh yeah, I think I hang out a while in this room and get bodied by these guys a lot.
Mm-hmm. because the lighting in this zone is so dim, I'm sometimes like, is that a breakable wall? Was that a secret?
Yeah.
Is that an enemy that we couldn't even see?
Yep. So I nearly get bodied there again. And then I'm like, okay, let's just get out.
Mm-hmm.
And then I noticed the different coloring, and that's it. So, let's give it another shot. Oh, this one I think was okay as well. Unless it was a certain point that I got stuck on. Oh yeah, I looked at this and I was like, oh, that's not that big a deal. The hardest part was actually just getting the whole thing started to begin with. Like, what's the cue for that one? So, I give that wall bounce a try and was like, you know what, that doesn't really make it much easier. So, I settle on trying to catch, I think, the upper left part of the cycle. And that seems to work.
And some handy-dandy spikes to hang out on.
Yeah. Well, also, if I could take damage on them and not reset immediately.
Mm-hmm.
If I somehow dropped a slash.
I feel like I just don't have a whole lot of value to add here.
No. It's okay. So yeah. Starting to figure out how to make it to a higher wheel. So that just takes a bit of experimentation. But at this point I figured out my cue for the first wheel and can get that going. Still get whacked pretty good by that third wheel, though. So, I'm actually recording this solo for a moment. Sally Cat has stepped out for a bit, but that's okay. I have more of the commentary as to how this was supposed to work. So, I realize I'm getting closer there. I just was maybe slightly late in when I transition. So I give this another go. And I'm like, okay, yeah, I just totally let the thing get off camera and thus missed my cue entirely. But I think I comment about like, hey, I'll probably get it in the next 3 attempts. And if I remember correctly, my third attempt was the one where I got it. So there we go. I made the transition. I'm like, okay, better be careful about this spike. This spike. Do not want to lose this one. Oops. That may have been number 1 out of 3. Yeah, that was number 2. Yeah, I remember screwing up right there. Yeah, and then I realize where I can save time there, get another horizontal dash off. And I stay much lower here so I can actually see the ball. And pull off barely a save and just get it.
Huzzah!
Okay. Yeah, so that one was even quicker than the one before it. In the meantime, some more smackdown on enemies. There are some fun enemy sounds here. Not the crawlers as much, but like the guys that dash at you. So I'm like, okay, well this sort of has the look of an open room. Yeah, the slug cats. Those are the ones with the fun noises. And I'm like, oh, can I make some shortcuts here? And some of my shortcuts don't really work. Or I just get clumsy.
Yeah, those bricks in the middle of the wall aren't the best combination with floor wall bounce.
Yeah, exactly. So just sort of work my way over.
What should we call that? Floor wall bounce? Vertical floor bounce?
Floor bounce climb. I think that's a good name for it.
Mm-hmm.
So I think you try to redirect me at this point. Maybe found something in a guide of like more central in the map.
Yeah, there was one point where I was looking at one or two guides and said, "Oh, sweetie, I may be a doofus. The statue is actually over there."
So yeah, I do back up. And I take my save, or my heal for like, you've been doing dumb with the platforming and the enemy dodging. So far so good though. Yeah, and I think I decided it's still worth it to try running back instead of warping myself to the previous save, because I knew I was probably going to go this way. I like the idea of a horizontal dash that I just don't see that guy and then smack right into him. So it's like, well, which side of the room is it? Maybe don't break the rocks and just go all the way around. Yeah, I think I was thinking like that one astral gate that I had finished seemed more middle of the area.
Yeah. This might have been the area. This might have been the place where I was insisting that the statue should be, according to the map I was looking at.
Yeah. And then I was like...
But
oh.
I don't know if either the map was wrong or if I was reading it poorly.
Yeah. Well, in the meantime, I have a stopover at a closer save for easy warping. And remember that that was the save that led to the 40-plus minutes of me trying a challenge over and over. Yeah. So I was like, right in the middle. That room is right in the middle. I don't think I'd remembered that there's like there's two separate rooms, one on top of the astral gate and one under. I figured it was a vertical tunnel that connected them, and was incorrect. So I was like, okay.
Yeah, the astral gate itself was kind of hiding the fact that there was a solid wall there, not a passage.
Exactly. So I was like, okay, I better check the other side of that wall. Hiya. Charge light. And I think I'm wondering, well, what if it's down there? And you probably remind me I can acid bounce. Because I haven't really had to use that much.
There's only so much acid outside of the acid dungeon.
True. Even with the acid dungeon, though, it's not like you need to use that skill a whole lot. So I was like, oh, and this is another one of those challenges that I have completed. And I don't think that was the hardest one, but... So then I checked this and I'm like, oh yeah, I was here like 5 minutes ago. Maybe fewer. So off to try another spot. And there's like, oh, there's a secret. I actually learned a bit of
just
something.
outside of that guy's laser range.
Yeah, but I think I was learning at that point too. Oh.
The flashlight that reveals all.
Yeah, but I'm like, wait, which wall? Like, do they want me to go diagonally into that wall? That didn't seem correct.
And there's a thing.
And that's where it is. And then I realized, you know what? Let's just do a shroom bounce once I actually get it correct.
Oh, the healing parry emblem.
Which I thought, you know what? That's actually one of the first parry emblems that I might want to use. But that's still going to probably be saved for boss fights. Not really useful now.
And that's where we remembered, oh yeah, acid bouncing is a thing.
Yep. So now I'm like, okay, down left or up left? Which ones are rooms I haven't seen yet? I don't think we ended up finding this guy, did we?
No, we did, eventually.
I thought we determined that this guy was actually in a different zone after all, but... So yeah, I figure it's more worth my time to just go straight left from here. Slug cat noises.
Confirming that indeed we cannot get up in there.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, if you want, you can just mentally insert some confused Let's Player noises in this section.
Yeah. Yeah, so I'm like, well, wait, which of the two sides was the one we haven't explored? Wait, we did actually explore these. So I was thinking, okay, is that a hidden wall there? And it is not. So I'm like, well, heck this. Gonna go back to the easy teleport and back to where I was before.
Mm-hmm.
Or maybe there. So yeah, this room was a former boss room. I thought this looked suspicious again, the fact that there were broken areas of the floor ceiling.
Mm-hmm.
And there's like, oh yeah, this was probably an enemy challenge room with something at the end. But still worth seeing if maybe there was a guy hanging out at the end waiting for me. Whack.
Ah yes, everyone's favorite game, Whack-a-Shroom.
Yeah. And I'm like, well, okay, that was pointless. I'm like, this is easier than me sitting down to heal. Let's just warp right back here. So, you know, which end do we go to?
Ah yes. And that's the point where I found a better map.
Yeah. And it was like, oh, let's just come into this corner. And all-seeing eyes going off. Yeah, that was the guy.
There's the statue, who is very interested in mind shrooms. Well done. You will now see. But in the meantime, where is that secret that the all-seeing eye is telling us about in this room?
Yeah. So I'm like, well, wait, it's not that wall.
It wasn't this wall.
So I'm like,
There it goes.
yeah. Yeah, this is the one. This is the one that I gave up on. Because this one has no dash. So no double jump, no horizontal dash. And this means you cannot juggle yourself correctly on a wall and just a wheel and just stay there while trying to figure it out.
It does have mush movers in the center of some of these,
Yes.
but you can't exactly juggle yourself off those either.
right. So
You
it's
get like one jump
it's
off.
it's like when are they actually needed? So then I was like, well, does the wall bounce help? Not really. So this is you just got to figure out the route and go with no waiting. Once you do figure it out. So yeah, this one takes a while.
Yeah, I might end up cutting a lot of this out in the final edit.
In any case, this is probably about where we would cut to. So, I gave up eventually. Really soon, in any case.
Yeah. He's made some progress in understanding this room.
But there's just like that wheel right there, the third one. I just could not figure out a strategy for it yet.
I mean, you're doing better than I ever would, but yeah.
Yeah. but I knew that it could take me easily 10 minutes of playing around with that wheel to figure out something.
And at this point, we had been putzing around in this room much more than long enough.
Yeah. This had also been the second of 2 recording sessions for this. We typically have not been doing 2 sessions on the same day. And I was definitely more tired. So, some yeets out into the wild, more so than actual successful attempts. And then was like, yeah, we're gonna call it.
Mm-hmm.
And was like, wait, you can't actually teleport from that map when you're in the astral room.
But we can always teleport right back to that particular room from the master astral portal thingy.
Yes, well, it's not even worth doing the little teleport to there, because it was like the next room.
Mm-hmm.
Well, maybe it was worth it, given the 2 charges. But
So
yeah,
at this point we said, that's all for this session. Until next time, have a good one, everybody.
have a good one.